Welcome back to another episode of Radio with Pictures with femLINKpacific and FemTalk 89 FM. We're bringing you conversations with heroines, everyday women making amazing changes in their communities. And in conversation with me today for this episode of Radio with Pictures, we have Jay Mati, who is the president of the Vuqele Women's Club in Tavua. We have Timaima Ralolokula from the Veilomani Women's Group in Malamala, Nandi. We have Luse Wilson from the Nangere Women's Group from Savusavu. And last but not least, Salome Raqiyawa from the Nalalawa Women's Group in Rakiraki. Let's start with you, Salome. Let's celebrate women's leadership. Tell me something about your group, the Nalalawa Women's Group, and one activity you've been undertaking, maybe since TC Winston or as a result of TC Winston?
As a Nalalawa Women's Club, since we are located in the rural areas and the village is situated in the low-lying areas, most of the times we experience the heavy rainfall and all that. So concerning the women leadership in our community, as women is the first responder, not only when disaster strike, but in everyday life, women is the first responder. Every day, we are leaders in our own community, in our own family.
What's one of the change in your roles as leaders that you've taken on since, particularly since Winston? Let me put it into context. We met you after Winston. We talked about, what was needed in your community. We talked to you again as a result of the tropical depression in December 2016, and you were talking again about the information you were providing to your Turanganikoro, how you were reorganizing, So what has that change been for the 40 plus women in your club?
As for me, the honors is on me. I always want to be participation, to take part in everything, especially in the village. So whenever there's happenings or occasion held around in the village, I want to be there. I want to be part of it. I want to stand beside the Turanganikoro since all the information I received, he rely on me.
Wonderful. So you're a key communicator for the village. Okay. Luse, for the Nangere Women's Group, but also the other villages that you're also representing, what are women doing in the community? What do we need to know more about the women in Savusavu?
In the women in Savusavu, those who are in the rural areas, they have a lot of responsibilities in their village, especially as you have heard, they are the first responders to their community. They have their family to look after, they have the village elders to look after, they have their songo to look after, and they are there to assist with the Turanganikoro on every aspect of what they are going through their everyday living, because there's a lot of problems there after TC Winston. And the women are the first one to be working with the administrators. The men are there, they're looking after the garden, they're trying to build up things, but it's the women who stood up for little extra things that is needed for the family to be protected.
What are those little extra things? Because sometimes it gets forgotten.
The water is most essential things. There are many villages, even as close as 4 kilometers from town, they're still going to the creek. Their water has been turned off and there's nothing else they can do. So they're looking after their water, they're looking after their children, going to school, they're looking after the elders who are there, even their houses, Sharon. They have to look after their homes. Even after TC Winston, after all the help the government has done, there are still other things, little important things that these women are still doing until today.
Okay, thank you, Luse. Timaima, you have been responsible for campaigning for water in your community in Malamala. So that, that's something that we have known about. We've written about Women's Weather Watch. What are women doing right now? Has the water got to you, or are you still without consistent clean water supply?
Thank you. Right now, water project has been going on in our community. Since 47 households are there in my community, only 21 households has received tap water, and the rest are still waiting for the project to be completed. Then we'll have sufficient water.
So do you know when all 47 will have access to clean water?
Actually, Water Authority, they took over for the contracts, and they told us that before August next year, we all have gonna receive that.
How long
water.
have you been living there?
I've been there for 12 years.
So hopefully by year 19 in your community, everyone in your settlement will have water.
Hopefully.
Why has this, I mean, obviously we all need water, but why did you decide to champion it? Why did you decide to get in touch with the different authorities, you know, speak when the Prime Minister came to your community?
Actually, it's just because since I'm a woman, and we're really concerned about our daily living and our children, and that's why I formed a club in a community. We formed a club way back in 2013, and we start going to those people up there, the district officer, the commissioner Western, and we start talking to them regarding our issues. So we never stop. We're still knocking at their doors.
Thank you. Jaimati, you have 11 members in your group, and I know the group was also present at the National Women's Expo. So tell us about the project. What did you bring to the expo? What are women involved in addition to their daily house management, farm management roles?
In my community, they are farmers. Mostly, all of them are farmers. So, from the first expo, we went there from the Women's Interest Officer. So, our clubs goes to everywhere where they need, because I'm the president, and I want everything to be well done. So I go every time to meet my Women's Interest Officer, and whatever is there, she tells me, and I come to my group and we discuss in our groups. So every Tuesdays we have our clubs, we do the fund raising, and we do our banking. Even if women can bank $2 or $1 every week, they will have some deposit in their bank. If they want, they can take any time they want to,
So
because they're deposited.
So it's all part of that financial security
Yeah.
for the members of your club.
Yeah, for the expo we took all the dry, like imli chutney, achar, and everything was sold.
Wonderful.
We got profit.
Excellent.
Only $200 we expend, but we brought them from there $600.
Wonderful. You tripled your budget.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about women's ideas for disaster preparedness, response and recovery after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on Radio with Pictures. Before the break, Jaimati, you were telling us how your group is organizing, even as 11 members, to save money, to produce income-generating products, particularly your chutneys, which you're able to sell through the different channels like the Women's Expo. Obviously, access to information through the Women's Interest Office is important. What are you also telling them that they need to know to support rural women's development?
So we were trying for income generating, but yet 2 years finished. Everything was done, only it was to be processed from Suva.
So it's a specific project that you wanted?
Yeah,
Okay.
beekeeping, but it is not given to us, never mind. But we ladies in our, we are doing our best. So when we get enough money, if anything happens if a person dies or anything, we give some money to them from our club contribution.
Are the savings also there, you know, we say, you know, saving for a rainy day, but are you also saving in case there is another disaster like Winston? What was the lesson learned there?
Like disasters, women are the first responders, I say. And women are there. Everywhere women are there. they know what to do. When hurricane came, every first one was the women to wake up, to do everything for the children, for their house, and to clean the compounds. Women were the first one, as I was also the first one. And because you know, when houses were blown away, men's, they were just, didn't know what to do. But as I'm a widow, I did my job well. And as a farmer also, my crop got down from 100 to 24. And yet it is drought season, and now I cut from 24 to 58 ton now. And might be I have planted a lot of plants, so from there next year I will cut more.
So
It is my background.
you're building up your tonnage.
Yeah,
You're
tonnage.
rebuilding the tonnage in terms of disaster recovery. You're responsible for rebuilding
The
homes.
homes. Yeah, I was also rebuilding my house.
Yes.
Yes, I was on my roof. One day Hannah called me and said, Fiji2 wants to interview me on my phone. Then I
You were on
asked
the
her,
roof.
I was on the roof.
Okay, we're going to come to Timaima. As you listen to Jaimati, you know, she's talking about women's roles, often the quite unrecognized roles of how women are leading. How do we support women like yourselves, like Jaimati and her club members, to get into those decision-making roles,
I
the
think
formal decision-making?
participation is very important. So what I can say is that for us to come out and available ourselves, so we can also participate in decision making, and also they should also give space to us and hear what we want to say.
So we need to make sure we're represented in those committees. But Lucy and Salome, how do we change some of the mindset? Because that's what we continue to hear on Radio with Pictures, that there's still those social, economic, and cultural barriers. So how do we make sure that we get women appointed?
For me, from my point of view, the onus is on us.
Okay.
Get involved, be participate. Whatever opportunity is given, whatever space is given, make use of it.
Okay.
Be part of it. When you are part of it, they're going to recognize you. When you just stay around, just be yourself, no one will recognize you.
Okay. So we have to assert ourselves. But isn't it also the responsibility of those in decision making to also bring women into that space of decision making, Luse?
If a woman has a passion to the work that they do to help their women, I believe they'll be recognized. And they have to rise up. All women are born leaders. No one is not. Even if you have qualification or you just stay in the village, you are a born leader. All you have to do is to just rise up. Give passion to the work, really work onto the women that you are serving, and move forward. Knock on the doors, speak it out. You have to, your voice has to be heard. We can't be just sitting there and trying to say, we have to be up there. We have to be you have to work over there. You have to go to the DO's office. You have to knock there. You have to keep on pressing them. They have so many work to do. As being a civil servant, we know. We have so many work to do. But if you keep on knocking and knocking, and they'll get fed up and they'll try to help you.
Okay, aside from making them fed up, what would be some of the recommendations that we would then be telling the district office, particularly in terms of women as first responders?
We in Savusavu, we are so fortunate. There are 2 ladies in the district office. There's one in Tukavesi and there's one in the town. And they listen to women. So that is why we have to get more women over there. When the women are there, they'll listen and they'll know what we are crying for. For the men, I think they will just take it as lightly as just a complaint or just something that you want to issue up. But with the women, they know and they know what we are crying for, they look up. I urge all the women to rise up and do their work with the passion of work to do it, and we'll be up there.
So you're also suggesting that there's a need to invest in women in decision making within the civil service to promote them as well. So seeing the increase of women who are DOs is a big making a difference. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
We can make use of women who are retired. Get them up. They know the channel, they know where to go, they know how to speak, they know how to knock. Get them in, get them involved so that we can rise up together.
Okay. Timaima, for younger women, very quickly, how do we support younger women? You had the benefit of being a Dudley girl. How can we take some of the Hannah Dudley's, mission into our women's clubs as well?
As a younger woman, I think the only thing we should do is join the elder one and listen to their advice. Then they can also give you space where you can raise your issue, your voice, then you'll become one as well.
So we're going to have some intergenerational conversations. I know you're doing that with your daughters. After the break, we're going to come back and have a conversation about the 16 Days campaign. Stay with us. Welcome back to Radio with Pictures. Our heroines in conversation with me today are Luse, Salome, Timaima and Jaimati. Salome, we got to meet your daughter last year as part of our Beyond Books and Bags film production. And the theme for 16 Days, once again, is looking at, keeping education safe, preventing gender-based violence in education. So as a mum with daughters, as a leader in your village community, how do you want to make sure education is safe for girls?
As my daughter is attending a boarding school, for me, as a way I look at it, if the Ministry of Education can put awareness program like part of teaching in school, to put, there's a program in school to run in school concerning like tenancy, pregnancy, to make it aware for them to know, because most of their time are spent in school, like they spend 4 hours in school and only a few hours at home, and that is a good space for them to learn more.
But you're making a good point that when we talk about education, it's not just the classroom, it's also making sure that for boarding schools, it has to be safe for girls as well, where they have to stay at the school environment. Jaimati, for the Vuqele Women's Club in Tavua, how do you want to make sure that the education for the girls that have to travel, walk to school, get back to school, is safe and secure?
Sharon, I'm telling about my grandchildren. Some of the ladies, they go up to the shelter with their children, as I'm going also with my grandchildren. When they sit in the bus, then we go home that way. But nowadays, we've heard from our grandchildren that they are doing that in the schools, like teaching them how to stay, awareness programs like that.
How to be safe.
Safe.
Yeah.
And they know everything from there, because school teachers, they teach them.
So child protection is important in the education.
And we teach them, we tell them at homes, and also told in my group that you teach your children, don't be shy. Nowadays, if you give them advice clearly, they will know what to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Timaima, I can see you nodding as Jaimati is talking. You have 3 daughters, so it's obviously very important to you. But what are some of your recommendations in terms of the theme?
Yes, it's really important, Sharon, because as we all know, mothers, most of the time we only getting busy with our daily chores and all those things. But for me as a mother, I always go to school as well. When from Monday to Friday, whenever my children are going to school, I went to school as well. So my recommendation would be, if there can be awareness for us parents to concern about our children's whereabouts and what they are learning, what they knowing, and all those small things, because if we concern, we'll know where they are up to. And also my recommendation is for the school to allow us parents to come to school and see what they're teaching them, and if awareness is there in what topic they're giving.
So maybe more parent-teacher conversations, not just at the end of the term when you go to receive the report
For the
card.
Parents'
Because
Day.
that's a busy time, Parents' Day. Luse, you're a retired teacher, so as you hear from the others, if you were to go back and think about your time in teaching, what would be some of your recommendations in line of this call that together we can end gender-based violence in education?
Sharon, it's sad to see that this violence is increasing all the time. And if it's increasing all the time, there is no protection. What are we doing and what is there that we can do to protect it? It's an everyday, it's an ongoing thing. It's so into our eyes, into our ears, to hear it on the radio, see it on TV. I think it's almost every day that we hear of this. And we are pointing at each other. Who is to be blamed for this? The parents would be looking at teachers, but they spend the most time with the children. The teachers would be looking at parents. They are the first one. They are the first one from there. And then we are looking at the government, and then we're looking at other organizations. My recommendation would be get a very substantial money fund from the state to combat this thing.
Okay.
And then have solidarity nationwide to look into this issue. And my recommendation would be educate the men, the women, the children, everybody. You just can't be educating women, and then the men will be there. We have to educate the men as well, in all aspects, in the church, within the schools, within the communities, and let's be together. Let's all be together and see this issue. It's a very, very big issue. And the penalty for the penalty to be addressed with, it has to be heavier than what we are getting now. Otherwise, this will be the same trend all the time. For the schools, I think the teachers are doing their duty. The teachers are there to teach, in the sense that they know that this has been done from home. In between, from the teacher to the parents, this is where the children are falling. Negligence. We can't be just pointing at each other. We have to stand together and bombard this. Where is this? Where are the times that it's happening? I think you remember it just came out on the TV last week on Sunday. A class 3 was being raped right in the center of the town of Savusavu. Where were the parents? The teachers were not there.
So we need to have, you talk about education at the community level, but if we talk, what would that education program look like? Can you be a little bit more specific?
If I see it from a perspective as from the church organization I'm
Yes.
with, that's a nice place to talk about it.
Okay.
Have a session with men, see what do they see out of what is going on. Have a session with women and with the children. We have Sunday schools,
Yes.
we have MYF, we have women's group, we have men's group. And if we go to the village, say as well, Turang Likoro.
So use the existing structures and processes, the women's clubs, the mundlis, to have those conversations.
Even in schools.
Even as well as in
Schools.
schools, to
Parents.
really, and what I'm hearing is you're saying, let's get to the root cause, what is causing the violence. Thank you so much, Luse, Salome, Timaima, and Jaimati for joining us in this conversation on Radio with Pictures. Don't forget, you can follow the conversation via our social media network on Twitter and Facebook, and of course by tuning in to FemTalk 89 FM. Thanks for your company. Don't forget to join us for the next episode. Nanaka.